likes magic? Jehovah or Satan?
It's been a while since I talked about Caleb and Sophia, Jehovah's Witnesses propaganda cartoons for children. They're high-quality animated shorts that touch on subjects such as obey Jehovah or else, and if you disobey your parents, your eternal life could be at risk. They obviously go way over the top with a lot of this stuff, and sadly, there are probably hundreds of thousands of kids, maybe even millions, who've been affected by these cartoons. So it's important we talk about them. They're slow about releasing new episodes. It's been about a year since I talked about their most recent one, but it's been 3 or 4 years since I watched the very first ones, so I figured we'd take a fresh look at them. Let's get into it. The new episodes have a dramatic quality improvement over the originals. That's because Jehovah's Witnesses do everything in-house. The Watchtower Bible and Tract Society, the company that basically started the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, started out as a printing press in 1881. Back in the late 1800s, early 1900s, the founder, Charles Taze Russell, was producing copies of his magazine, Zion's Watchtower. The religion was called the Bible Students at the time, not Jehovah's Witnesses. Eventually he died on Halloween night 1960. And the religion was taken over by Joseph Rutherford, by all accounts an alcoholic and a womanizer, not viewed favorably by history to say the least. In the early 1930s he did what was effectively a hostile takeover of the religion and commandeered ownership, fired the board and became the sole decision maker, the president, then renamed the religion to Jehovah's Witnesses. In the early 1900s they had sound cars with phonograph horns on the top, and they'd drive through neighborhoods annoying everybody by playing a message from the religion's leadership. They even had handheld phonographs that they'd carry from door to door and play a message for people. That was a big fucking deal, actually. Phonographs were a reasonably new technology at the time, so when somebody shows up at your door to play something for you, you listen. And now, in the year 2021, their primary means of spreading the good word is digitally. They still knock on doors, although in recent years, since the start of the pandemic, they've been doing letter writing campaigns rather than door knocking campaigns. But the printing press arm of the Watchtower Society is still getting smaller and smaller as time goes on. They're right in the middle of building a new media center where app developers, animators, and writers will live and work 24/7. Like I said, they don't bring in outside help very often. Everything they produce is produced by fellow Jehovah's Witnesses. So with that bit of history out of the way, let's take a look at their first Caleb and Sophia videos, propaganda for children. This one is called Obey Your Parents. Check it out.
Caleb! Time for dinner. I just cleaned the house, so remember, take your shoes off.
Okay, Mom. We're clear for landing. Yeah!
Caleb! Did Mommy tell you to take off your shoes?
Yes.
Mom worked very hard to clean the house today. How will she feel when she sees this?
Okay, seems like a message everybody can get behind, right? Don't be a little shithead. But there's more to it. Everybody has a role to play in the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses, especially the children. When Jehovah's Witnesses go to a door or talk to people who might be interested in the religion, if they have kids, they're supposed to bring a kid with them so the two kids can sit together and watch Caleb and Sophia videos while the adults talk about the Bible. Naturally, some parents might have some concerns about that. They don't want their kids having any old thing crammed down their throats. So the standard Jehovah's Witnesses' response to those objections are, Caleb and Sophia are just normal messages for everybody. It isn't specifically directed at religious people. Just take a look at this video. It's called Obey Your Parents. They show them the first couple minutes of the episode, and sure enough, they're just saying, obey your parents. Nothing dirty or underhanded or sneaky about that, right? Let's keep watching.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
I know. Let's clean this up together. So that was a lot of work, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you had listened to Mommy, you wouldn't have had to do all that work. My son, when we tell you to do something, it's because we love you. We want the best for you. Remember what we learned in family worship? It is here in Ephesians. What chapter is that?
6?
Right, very good.
And there it is. Now religion starts creeping in. No longer just good life lessons for anybody, right? Now it's pushing an agenda. But it gets worse. The expectation is that you'll be standing there at the door talking to somebody about Jehovah's Witnesses while your kid is showing their kid a Caleb and Sophia video. The fact that the person isn't already a Jehovah's Witness implies that they aren't completely 100% invested in the religion yet. But now you're showing their kid this cartoon that clearly not only has a religious bent,
It is here in Ephesians. What chapter is that?
6?
Right, very good. This is what Jehovah wants you to do.
but it has a specific Jehovah's Witness bent too. Now, the person at the door will not only have encouragement to join the religion from you, but their kid will be pushing them to get more involved in the religion too. Jehovah's Witnesses are nothing if not crafty manipulators. They've had a solid 150 years to hone their skills at forcing people into unwinnable situations. Before we continue, I wanted to mention something. If you like what I do and you want to see me continue to do it, you can support me by checking out my sponsor, CuriosityStream. You've probably heard of them before. It's a streaming service for documentaries, and the fact that you're here watching my channel tells me it's probably something you'd be interested in. I signed up and checked it out. John Green from the Vlog Brothers had a bunch of stuff on there about 19th century America, among other things. I watched this mini-series called Secret Societies about the origins of the Illuminati, the heart of most conspiracy theories. It definitely added context to the claims of some of the conspiracy theorists I cover on my channel. I am a big fan of CuriosityStream. If you use the code Telltale, it's only $14.99 per year. The code gets you 25% off the original price, which is already ridiculously low. A certain other streaming service we all know and love just raised their prices to $17.99 per month for their premium plan. With the discount, you're only paying $1.25 per month to have an endless number of documentaries at your fingertips. It's on Apple TV, Android, and just about every other streaming hardware you can imagine. So give it a look. The code is Telltale, and there's a link in the description and the pinned comment. Okay, when we left off, the Caleb and Sophia clip was taking a distinctly religious turn. Let's keep watching.
This is what Jehovah wants you to do. Children, that's you, Caleb. Be obedient to your parents, that it may go well with you. That's why you should always listen to Mom and Daddy.
Dinner's ready. Come and eat.
Come on, let's go get some food.
Okay, Dad.
I feel it's pretty obvious how they're trying to manipulate people at this point. That's how the series started, and that's what it is today. Although they've created more episodes targeted at kids that are already part of the religion. Episodes that talk about doctrinal issues, like why it's wrong to celebrate birthdays in Jehovah's Witnesses' eyes. I covered that episode more recently, but I downloaded it just so we could get an idea of how far these people have come in their animation skills. Take a look at this episode and compare it to the last one. This is the most recent release, Should We Celebrate Birthdays? Check it out.
So, Dad, why don't we celebrate our birthday?
Good question. How would you answer that at school?
Because Jehovah doesn't like it?
Yes, but why? Do you like presents and treats?
Yes!
But do you want them like this? Birthday celebrations mix good things with things Jehovah doesn't like.
How?
Yeah, how? Okay, don't get distracted. This is about the animation quality, not the content. Caleb looks completely different in each episode. It went from clearly amateur to Pixar quality. It's extremely impressive considering the fact that these videos are just made by a bunch of people at the Jehovah's Witness headquarters. They live and work in the same building. It's considered an honor to go to Bethel in Jehovah's Witnesses' eyes. They're like the elite of the elite. It's kind of like going to the military a little bit. They used to own this building in Brooklyn, New York. They've owned it since the very beginning, but they recently got hit with so many lawsuits that they had to sell it for an estimated $1.3 billion and build a new headquarters outside the city in a less valuable location. Of course, the new headquarters was built with volunteer labor. That, coupled with how much cheaper the land was in the new area, made it significantly less expensive to build the headquarters. I would say they made a profit off of the sale, but they had to pay off all those child lawsuits, so yeah. They probably didn't make much in the end. Anyways, it's pretty clear the animators that live and work at the headquarters are improving. But there's a point to this birthday video. Let's watch a little more of it before going back to the original Caleb and Sophia clips.
What does the Bible say about birthdays?
It talks about them, but not good ones. There was Pharaoh in Egypt and Herod in Jesus' day. They were proud rulers and had people put to death at their birthday parties. Can you remember if Jesus celebrated his birthday?
No.
That's right, he didn't. He told us to celebrate the date of his death because it gives us the hope of living forever.
Well, that's a little deceptive. The Bible doesn't say Jesus never celebrated birthdays because God doesn't like it when people celebrate birthdays. It just doesn't mention Jesus ever celebrating his birthday. That's not the same thing. The Bible doesn't really say much about the first 18 years of his life either. But Jehovah's Witnesses don't assume he just didn't exist until he was 18. This is actually a simplified version of why Jehovah's Witnesses don't celebrate birthdays. They cite a few reasons. One of those reasons is, as they mentioned, because every time the Bible mentions a birthday, somebody loses a head. It only mentions them in a bad context, basically. It doesn't explicitly say, don't celebrate birthdays. It gave all kinds of other moral declarations and demands, but it doesn't say a word about whether or not you should celebrate birthdays. As my friend Lloyd Evans says, anytime the Bible mentions dogs, it's in a negative context too. Does that mean we shouldn't keep dogs as pets? That's the kind of logic we're working with here. But the governing body claims to be God's mouthpiece on earth. Everything they say comes straight from heaven. It's divinely inspired. So if you disagree with them on something, it means you think God is wrong, which makes you a pawn of Satan. No matter how ridiculous their moral declarations are, no matter how many people it hurts. And believe me, they definitely pass down some orders that get people hurt. Like I said, I talked about this video recently, so I'm not going to go into depth on it now, but I wanted to play part of it because it'll give you context to the next video I wanted to watch. Let's go back to the original Caleb and Sophia videos. The next one is titled Obey Jehovah. This one is pretty overtly designed for existing members rather than people at the door. Check it out.
Barlock, attack!
Oh no, it's Sparlock!
Caleb!
We need someone to save us!
Caleb!
Sparlock can activate
Caleb.
your magic, Sparlock!
Hi. How was school today?
Fine. Look at Sparlock's magic key!
Caleb, what toy is that?
It's Sparlock, the warrior wizard!
Whoa, a warrior wizard.
Yeah, my friend gave it to me. All the kids are going to see the movie. Can I see it too?
Oh, your friend gave this to you.
Uh-oh, that's not good. The mom does not look happy. This kid just got a warrior wizard from a friend at school. This is one of those doctrine episodes where they want to make it clear what's allowed and what isn't. Jehovah's Witnesses have a crazy number of rules for the kids in their religion, more than necessary. And just like the rules about not celebrating birthdays, this one will lead to being completely ostracized by your classmates in school. Everybody's playing with and talking about the new warrior wizard. One of your classmates has a birthday and they're all eating cupcakes. It's Valentine's Day, and everybody's giving out Valentine's cards to each other. What do you, as a Jehovah's Witness, do in those situations? Well, when every kid in class is celebrating a holiday like that, in my case, I would go to the hall and stand out there until the celebration was over. While all my fellow classmates were eating cupcakes, I had to sit there alone, listening to them have fun. Almost every rule they have drives a wedge between you and everybody around you. It turns people into social outcasts. You can't relate to them in any way. Jehovah's Witnesses aren't usually very popular in school because nobody can connect with them. Every single holiday is banned. Why? Why do they do that? They have different reasons for each one, but ultimately, in my opinion, I think it's because they want to make sure you aren't making close friends. When I was little, I wasn't allowed to go to kids' houses either. I wasn't allowed to have sleepovers or go to movies with them or play games with them or anything at all. People just kind of forget about you when you're a Jehovah's Witness in school. And every single day, there's a constant reminder right there in your face that you're different. You aren't supposed to stand and say the Pledge of Allegiance with everybody else either. In fact, you should treat it like it's your own territory to be worked. Some of these kids' parents live in gated communities, inaccessible to Jehovah's Witnesses normally. So it's your responsibility to spread the good word to your classmates, to save them from eternal destruction. How popular do you think that makes you in school? Everything they demand is seemingly designed to isolate you from your peers. Let's keep watching the clip. See what Caleb's mom has to say about the warrior wizard.
Is this toy magical?
Mm-hmm.
Caleb, Who likes magic? Jehovah or Satan?
Satan.
Right. Magic is bad. That's why Jehovah hates it.
Wait, since when does Jehovah hate magic? That doesn't make any sense. Jehovah uses magic all the time through the Bible. By the by, I just want to mention, the name Jehovah is fake. It's a fabrication. It isn't God's real, original name in the Bible. The actual Tetragrammaton, the 4 Hebrew letters that represent God's name, are YHWH. They didn't use vowels when writing Hebrew when the Bible was written, so the only piece of God's name we have is YHWH. But modern scholars say it was pronounced Yahweh. There's a big long explanation for how the name Jehovah came to be, but to keep it short, since that isn't really what this is about, the old Hebrew scholars added vowels to the Bible years later, but at the time, speaking God's name was this big superstitious thing. So they combined the letters YHWH with the vowels in the word Adonai, which translates to Lord, which we would now pronounce as Yahweh. At the time, combining the two words like that didn't really make any sense, so when people came to it when reading, they'd know not to even try to pronounce it. But as time went on, it passed through Germanic regions where Y's are pronounced like J's and W's are pronounced like V's, and morphed from Yahweh to Jehovah. So Jehovah is a bastardization of the original. God's name, according to the Bible, is Yahweh, not Jehovah. But I digress. As I was saying, Jehovah does not hate magic. I can think of a handful of occasions when he used magic in the Bible. But go ahead and rewrite history, Jehovah's Witnesses. Wouldn't be the first time. Let's keep watching.
Magic is bad. That's why Jehovah hates it. Do you really want to play with something that Jehovah hates? Do you remember who we learned about at family worship? Who is this?
Adam and Eve.
Right. Did they obey Jehovah?
No, they disobeyed Jehovah. And he got very sad.
So what if you disobey Jehovah and play with toys he doesn't like? Do you think Jehovah will be happy or sad?
What a guilt trip. Over a fucking toy. Seriously, is it that big of a deal? No, it isn't. I'd say the bigger deal here is the fact that this kid seems to be making friends outside the religion. Like I said earlier, I wasn't allowed to have outsiders as friends. No sleepovers, no going to the movies together, no going to the mall, no nothing. You have to live in the world, but you shouldn't be a part of it, according to Jehovah's Witnesses. If you surround yourself with fellow Jehovah's Witnesses, then you'll be less likely to leave the religion. Of course, my congregation didn't really have many people my age, or at least not many who liked me, so I basically didn't have a single friend in the world until I was 16. It was fucked up, and exactly what Jehovah's Witnesses wanted. Let's keep watching.
Do you think Jehovah will be happy or sad?
Sad.
Yeah. Do you want Jehovah to be sad?
No! I don't want Jehovah to be sad with me.
No, I don't want Jehovah to be sad with you either. So what do you think you should do with this toy? Caleb, I am so proud of you. You made Mommy very happy. And you know who else is happy?
Jehovah.
Yes. Jehovah loves you very much for obeying him, Caleb.
Wow, just throw the toy in the trash. The toy you got from your friend. That'll definitely make you more popular at school. Just one more way of driving a wedge between you and the other kids. Seeing this shit is so sad. This is just a cartoon, but I can tell you firsthand, I experienced this type of thing. Kids at my school were all reading Harry Potter, talking about it and making references. I wasn't allowed to read it. I had to be careful which books I read. If magic appeared, I had to put the book down and read something else. And you'd be surprised how often magic comes up in books. Sadly, there are a ton of kids out there today dealing with this exact thing. This is extremely common. I would love to see the day when everybody in this religion wakes up from it and leaves, but I honestly doubt that day will ever come. In the 90s, there was a cult called Heaven's Gate, run by a guy named Marshall Applewhite. called himself Doe, like the musical note. They believed there was a spaceship on its way to Earth behind the Hale-Bopp comet in the mid-90s, and it was coming to pick him up. They thought it would take them to the next evolutionary level above human, the kingdom of God. They believed it so deeply that they took their own lives so their souls would find their way to the spaceship. 39 people, including the leader himself, Marshall Applewhite. Each member had a $5 bill and 3 quarters in their pockets for space fare, and they were dressed in matching outfits. When they died, they left one person behind to manage the finances and intellectual property of the group. You can't join anymore because there isn't a so-called original member on Earth anymore. The only 2 original members were Doe and his partner, T, aka Bonnie Nettles, who died of liver cancer in the mid-80s. But guess what? Even Heaven's Gate has living believers. I don't just mean the person that stayed behind to manage their intellectual property. I mean people who were a part of the group over the years, left it, and came back to it after everybody else passed on. I mean people who buy the book, which is still available by the way, and convince themselves that it's all real. There are still active, believing people out there, and that's how it'll be for Jehovah's Witnesses. It is so big at this point that there will never be a time when the religion of Jehovah's Witnesses just doesn't exist anymore. As long as there are gullible suckers to fleece, there will be a Jehovah's Witness governing body to fleece them. And conversely, I will be here to point it out and try to make their numbers shrink. That's about the best we can do. Try to pull people out one by one until they start losing membership rather than gaining. The good news is they've lost more members than they've gained over the past couple years, but it's an uphill battle. Anyways, that's all I've got for you. Thanks for watching, guys.